Sunday afternoon Soul Speak. Just a little bit of Sunday afternoon Soul Speak. Synchronistic vibrations are increasing. Lower level vibrations decreasing. We have the eyes to see. Numbers, tones, sensations, coincidences that are not luck or the mask of aberration. The universe speaks, is divinity. The soul's call to arms come down, the door to liberation, freedom, manifestation, initiation, tuition, to a new world of old, kindred, the gnosis of soul. Not a language of human to speak, not a description be told fully. No matter the intensity we seek, it comes in many ways. We've been blinded, but now the veil is lifted. Blind by faith no more. Uncover the vanity of the superficial landscape of our lives, the little worries and hurries of a world that is no more, no longer to ignore. That is what we are here for. It's a choice, not a chore. This is what we're here for. A coronation, the bold exploration of the limitless lineage we share. It's a kindred, the gnosis of soul. Discover, uncover, recover the eternal, to stand in the space from the difficult and mortal we come, a path chosen by each soul. We need not chase our future anymore. We need not trace our past anymore. All has merged, oneness. Activations, channeling vortex, wisdom, love, truth, and peace. Now we crease the cool waters in unison, but alone we make that call. We rise and fall together. We are the alchemists, controlling all things, the wars, the woes, the weather.
Well, it seems we're having a little bit of a problem with our internet, and that's okay. We're going to keep moving forward. Sorry about that disrupted intro with that wild man back in his old SoulogyOneStudios man cave. Welcome, everybody, to the second show of the day. We got our beautiful sister, Shelley Sol's in the house, and we've met with her 2-3 times, and she's a very cool lady. She's got some great perspective, and let's get her up here and get started.
Do I need to turn it the other way?
No, you're good. Wait a minute. I'm sending you a note to start your video.
Okay, hang on. Let me just that so my hand is on it. I haven't been able to adjust it. Oh, did I push? I think I pushed later.
Yeah, you push later. So let me send it again. Let me send it again.
Okay. There you go.
That's okay. These 3D things
I
are
know.
not that easy to remember. I just was sent to the store to get peanut butter and
I,
I forgot.
I can't see, how I'm appearing because the
These
camera's like far away and small.
No, you're
Like,
perfect. You're perfect. We can see you
thank you.
from we can see you from your midsection up.
We are all perfect.
Hang on a second. We have an issue here. Hang on one second.
Am I still live? Hi, everybody. If I am, you guys know me, right? I run the Blue Heart Sanctuary. Big things are happening. Hey, Denise is on here. Oh, I'm still live. Thanks. I appreciate that tip.
How was that?
I wasn't sure if I
what was that? Somebody give you a tip. What's that?
I wasn't sure if I was still live or not.
Oh yeah, you're live. Yeah.
Oh,
Hope you didn't do anything to embarrass yourself.
I don't know.
So what's happening on the front line of apocalypse in the southern U.S.? I believe you're what, in North Carolina? You in North Carolina?
Western North Carolina.
North.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Hour
So
north
it's
of
been a while
Asheville.
since we talked. Hour worth of that, north
Yes.
of Asheville. Yeah, I hope to be heading that way sometime. And I'm sure we will in 2020 at some point. So what's been going on with
Oh.
you? I mean, it's been a while since we caught up with each other. It's always interesting. I had one
It is.
subject when you came into mind, and I saw you on the calendar. I thought, oh, there's something I want to talk to her about. What do you got on your mind?
Just so much goodness. It's just been this opportunity for expansion and moving through the process of releasing these stories that we tell ourselves, these programs and beliefs, and really just fully embodying like the truth of who we are, like full on, no limitations, fully expressed in our divinity, and just shining that light out like without reserve everywhere we go. And then now watching all the extraordinary things that are coming into focus, that are coming to like greater clarity. And so lots and lots of good stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yes.
And then you said like letting go. One of the things I've noticed, I'd like to get your perspective on it. One of the things I noticed over the last, I don't know, it's been accelerating like everything else. But one of the things I'm noticing is how, we all learn to disengage, to disengage from the story, from the trauma, from the illusion, what wasn't real. And then there's this weird twist on it because so many people like you have been pulling down, infinite intelligence, real-time intel, personal divine episodes and divine intervention, and our own unique level of communion with the universe, which might look different, but it's all the same. But people starting to let go of the egoic attachment to I'm channeling such and such divine essence, or I am a Lyrian, or I am a star family from this planetary system, or whatever. Starting to let go of that, and move into what you described just a second ago, which is us. Really. I mean, it's us. It's all that stuff was part of us, but now we're an expanding us, and this is getting interesting because nothing we can conceive of, is what it is. It's something that we don't even know what it is, but at the same time, we're in control of it. So it's a weird twist to me, but it's good.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm connecting in with
Yeah,
more
it
and
is.
more who are at this place with this awareness, and truly, we say it all the time, when two or more are gathered, what? It's this amplification of all this goodness that's just like, it's just rippling out, and connecting in with others that you are able to be just fully expressed and celebrated and seen is just like, God, there's just no words.
Yeah. Have you been some people are experiencing and creating more physical soul gatherings, like you said, 2 or more. Are you
Yeah.
experiencing that? Are you finding more? I know you had an interesting evolution in terms of where you're at and all the things that happened to you. And I would really strongly recommend anybody and everyone to just Google, Facebook, search, Soul Speaks 5D, Shelley Sol. You'll see 3 or 4 episodes there, but it's pretty interesting, her whole journey. But what I was getting at is you know, have you've talked about some experiences that you've had with other people in your practice and also just in your day to day, and it seemed like you were kind of on the forefront of meeting people in your local area and things happening there at the grassroots level.
Yeah, I'm really
Are you
honored to be in a
finding that's
place where, pardon me?
no, there's a lag. Go ahead.
I gotcha. I'm just
So
kidding.
if my mouth's moving and the voice is late, it's like those Japanese karate movies, What's up?
Okay, good. This will be really
Voice.
fun then. Wah, 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 wah. So yeah, I'm incredibly blessed to be in Western North Carolina. Asheville is just like an hour away, and lots of those of the light are being drawn into this area. And some of them don't even have the awareness of why, and others are like, I was told to go here. So with the ley lines, Black Mountain, this whole area is covered in quartz, and the amplification of the energies is just like, we're creating a giant grid point here. And it's so exciting to have the opportunity to play with others who have the same awareness that you do, because it's really a lot of fun. It's really quite enjoyable.
It is a lot of fun.
It is. It's
It
fun.
is a lot
It's
of fun.
joyful to be in that place of having a good time and laughing and just being in love with everyone and everything and every experience. And it's really good. There's no human words.
And you're seeing it through, if I remember correctly, you're seeing it first of all through, uh, well, in part, your relationship or interaction with your own children, who one specifically, but all of them, that one of them that's in her teens and was kind of coming into her own, and she shaved her head a few months ago and
Yeah.
took her own sovereignty in hand. And then also with what you do in terms of the I believe an animal sanctuary, and then of course with the people that you meet locally. One of the things that you talked about, which I wanted to bring up because it's becoming more and more of a topic and less of a fantastic dream, whatever, but it is this method of communication that seems to be truer to the universal language and even music, because it takes in all the higher senses as well as the 5 senses, and that is soul merging. Some people call it herioscamos. It's been written about for centuries and centuries. But you talked about how you practice that consciously and how you were aware of that energy within yourself and the interaction with others. And you gave an example. For example, you got into an Uber and the driver felt your energy and there was some type of merging taking place. And I believe he had several soulgasms driving you down the road. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But,
actually, I was the driver.
Oh, you were the driver. How did you drive? No, we'll get into that. Too much information.
So I have great fun with it, actually. I ask the divine to allow me to be of service and to align me with people who either I'm planting a seed or they're having some kind of full blown, like, orgasmic, tantric experience. That was an interesting case because he identified with being a gay man. And I didn't even look at him. I didn't touch him. He just sat in the seat behind me and was just like, what is this? Like, what's going on in here? Like, what's happening? I'm a gay man. And I was just like, oh, okay. Have you ever heard of energy and Kundalini? And we just, went on from there. So yeah, I'm an activator. And so I do hold this energetic frequency that some people do discern as being sensual in nature. The unawakened.
I think that's. Yeah, go ahead. There's a lot. Go ahead.
identify that as sexual energy. And so when I am fully expressed, when I'm looking at someone and having a conversation in connection, smiling, responding, I'd like to touch people. I'm an intuitive body worker. This is all coming out now, where like I just am shown like where to put my hands, what to touch. And of course I do ask for, are you comfortable with this? I don't just randomly touch people who don't want to be touched, but there is a great transference of this beautiful sensual energy that's very healing. And so I am often in a place of reminding those that this is a divine touch. This is a divine loving touch. And, you know, we need to be touched. We need to be held. And it's really important, you know, we hold these experiences in our cells, in our muscles sometimes. And when we can get body work done and just be able to just like relax and just release that, you know, sometimes past memories and things will come up. It just kind of all depends. I just was so graced this weekend to experience my beautiful soul family did a 2-person body work session on me. It's the first time I've been worked on that way in about 5 years. And there is a true discernible difference now with my movement. I love to do a static dance, and I love to allow spirit to just, you know, move through me in that way. And I do light language and just that place of being fully expressed. And I can definitely tell a difference in my movement now, that like all those places of stagnancy are like, they're gone. So it's like, leveling, spiraling up, all these beautiful tools and connections and things that we can do to continue to tune our vibration, our frequency to this place of just glorious bliss.
Yeah, exactly. And so so let me ask you a little bit about this, because you also talked about doing it consciously with another person who was consciously engaging in this. We talked about this a little bit last time. And there is, yes. I think obviously we've been doing this stuff consciously and unconsciously primarily, you know, all our lives and all the time, every day. We're merging all the time. It's just dependent on where we're coming from, I guess. As I understand this Helios Gamos, as I understand true soul merging being a no better way to communicate. This is how we communicate with the higher aspects, and we merge. Trade information with them, our multiple dimensional aspects and so on, animals and so on, everything really. But one of the things is how we're coming into terms with making the distinction between, because it is a sensuous vibration. I mean, it is an ecstatic, some type of, you know, not in the wrong way, but certainly in a spiritual way, erotic sensation. If you're going to try to define it or explain it through human 3D terms, but it is not the 3D sexual lower chakra driven type of sexual energy. It is coming from a pure unconditional place. How did you fall into this? Was it a natural thing for you? Have you had any experiences where you've picked up code and knowledge that you can verify from other people and vice versa?
Constantly, in every moment, every day. Yes. I am just completely in that place of surrender and flow into moment by moment awareness of being connected in with the divine, with earth, with every being, breath, everybody, everywhere. And then when you are in connection with another in that way as well, I find that clear communication is really important, and it really does kind of set the tone. So when you're connecting in with someone, when you can establish, I'm all about platonic intimacy. I love to be affectionate, and I love to touch, and I love to hug. I'm guided now in this moment to be celibate, to keep my DNA sovereign to myself. That doesn't mean that I don't love to be cuddled and touched and hugged. And I'm attracting those into my field of experience who are able to express love in that way without the hangups of a third dimensional kind of, you know, you're my girlfriend now kind of thing, because it is a higher, it is a different experience. of the expression of divine love. And so I'm incredibly blessed to, have that opportunity. And it's like, it's the sharing of the frequencies that you're in resonance with. It's just like this dance of, it's tremendous.
Yeah. And it's
Yes.
it's becoming, it's becoming more and more frequent. I mean, you're seeing it more and more. People are talking about it more. I remember when I met Morgan 4 years ago, she has a Facebook page, Hariyoskama Soul Merging. And there wasn't a whole lot out there about it. There wasn't. I'm sure there was people talking about it. There were certainly people experiencing it. As we came onto the internet, we started messaging each other, and you could feel people's energy, and everybody fell in love with someone else every other day. It was that powerful, and then people started to get a handle on it. But as I understand it too, it is as I merge with you, like even now, even though this is we're having a conversation, but there is some type of merging taking place at the higher level. We're exchanging code, we're exchanging information, things that I may be insufficient in, or need work in, or need light cast on, like shadow or whatever, is being given to me, and vice versa. And this is how we expand and live and love and learn in other dimensions. Then we're bringing it into this dimension, which is incredible when you throw in the physical potential. Because even though, like what you're saying, it's very true, even for me being in a relationship, that element of this isn't that energy that I'm picking up from her, or vice versa, isn't this old energy. We're not going to be confused with lust, for instance, if this is something else, and it can come in so many different ways that don't look like the old pictures of intimacy.
Right.
So it applies to everybody. It applies to the couples. It applies to, but I do think too, and let me get your take on this. I was celibate for quite some time before I met Morgan, and she was too. The level of experience that you're having, you already said you're attracting people of like vibration that are coming from the same intent you are. And is that expanding? Are you seeing more and more of that in your own experience?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Every day is another soul family, another recognition, another connecting in, just kind of seeing how it's all kind of together now. So yeah, it's definitely, I can remember when I first was waking up, feeling very alone and on my own, and strange and odd and weird and all those things. And then now that I'm more in this place of loving who I am, and fully embracing my truth, allowing myself to be like the authentic being that I am. I'm attracting others who are, in support and in resonance, and have done the work to get to that place on their own. So like, we are perfect and whole and complete, sovereignty on our sovereign selves. And then when we come together, it's just this beautiful, because no one's pulling on one another's energy. We're both in this place of wholeness. I am perfect and whole and complete on you are, and here we come together, and it's just like, poof.
Yeah. It's like a space of pure openness. And I've heard energy practitioners, including Morgan, talk about this, that when they go into a session, what they do is they open up their field totally open, totally vulnerable. And then the client is like you said, asked, to do the same. And whatever level of openness that occurs, probably, I would think, has a direct impact on the elevation, I guess, or the activation or clearing or whatever. So that's I think a big part of it too is, I used to say in the old business world, when we go into like negotiations and stuff like that, I'd always say, okay, I wonder who's going to drop their pants first, meaning who's going to have the balls to be vulnerable and really lay it out there and not play this shell game or play some type of game. We had the show before with Susan Amar, where she was saying we can't hide anymore. You can't even if you want to, you can't hide anymore. So we might as well get it out there in the open. And that seems to be the real place of integration with this type of thing that we're talking about, seems to be how vulnerable, how open can you actually be? And you know, all senses involved, and who's going to go first. And I think that's what people like you and her and others have done, you know, as we came out of this wounded healer mode, is where they just said, you know what, I'm all in. And then it creates this level of all in, you know, and like so many things that we go through, somebody does it, somebody breaks an energetic door down, somebody follows, and then you have a stampede.
Yes. Yes.
Have you been you know, there's all this you know, stuff we're piecing together. It seems like a lot of people are, well, with more frequency, you know, people post something or realize something, and then they see somebody else do it a day later and a day later, and there's so many people kind of writing the same thing, even though they use their own words and their own metaphors and all that. But my point is that God, you know, it's only 20 days into October. uh the month's not even, you know, it's a little over half over and all, but this month it just seemed to be like all the rules changed. Like these old loops don't play anymore. Like you really got to work hard to make them work. And lots of different things have been popping up. A lot of people have been talking about sacred union occurring more collectively, being anchored and such. How has your experience been over the last month or so? Have you had any eruptions, triggers, periods of solitude, or have you been pretty even keeled over the last few weeks?
No, I've definitely been doing some processing and releasing. And I think the thing now is like when the triggers arise, I recognize them immediately. And so instead of getting spun off, just being able to immediately like shift my perspective and begin to tell myself another story. I know a lot, we're feeling the, you know, clearing the separation, the feeling of separation. I know that another beautiful soul sister and I had discussed that. And yeah, you know, my former husband of 19 years left when I first had what I consider to be my sudden awakening. And I'll get to the part of where we are now. But, you know, what I realized is this was my opportunity to give him unconditional love and forgiveness. And in doing that, that's liberated me from the suffering. And I had a trigger just maybe about 3 weeks ago, because he was up here and he's wonderful. He comes up here to help and he supports and he's fantastic in that way. And, you know, part of it, he doesn't even know why he had to, you know, why that all happened in that way. He kind of is like scratching his head at this point, but it's all good because I see how it was divinely orchestrated and it was not my choice at the time. Now I recognize the importance of him stepping out of the way so that I would focus on myself and do this work. But the trigger was that he had an emotional affair with a woman while we were married and is together with her now, even though he, you know, maintained that they were just friends. And I, in fact, received an email that, you know, something had been going on with them. And I began to tell myself this story that he betrayed me and he left me and all these, you know, things, lower vibrational ways of being. And immediately I was just like, oh no, this is not who I am. This is not my truth. I'm going to shift the perspective. I'm going to shift my perspective. This was divinely orchestrated for me, for him, so that we could grow and evolve and expand. I agreed to this so that I could be in this place of, I love you. I forgive you. I'm releasing myself from that suffering, from that weight, and getting back into alignment of the truth of who I am. So, you know, we can shift through these things, these triggers or whatever it is that's coming up really quickly because we have the awareness now and we have so many tools. So when you begin to feel that little ugh in your stomach or whatever it is that makes you feel like, oh, this is not where I've been operating these days. This isn't me connected to the divine. This isn't me knowing my truth and living in this place of joy and peace and bliss and happiness. And that doesn't feel very good. I don't like that down there. So I'm going to flip it. And you can do it like that. It's your choice. We are all graced with a choice, and how quickly we process through these things because we all have trauma. We have all experienced some horrific ass things, but that doesn't define us. Who we are now in this moment, this is where we are. This is where we're creating from, being present in this moment and giving your love and energy and intention to how you want to experience this beautiful earth. Like, oh my God, I completely see what is unfolding here, the goodness that is rippling out, and the healing of the earth, and the help for humanity, and just like, doop, like it's done. It's already happened. Like the light has won. I feel it and I know it. And oh my gosh, to be in that place and to shine that light, like, I know it. I feel it. It is. It is done. It is now. Right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting too, because, you know, God, it just seems, well, it, it is a simple thing. You know, the rules of the universe are pretty simple. There's not like,
Yeah.
a multitude of rules. There's just some basic stuff, which would probably mostly easily be stated just in an energetic expression without words. But, it's like, uh, what's tied to that, what you just described. I mean, what do we all want? I mean, in the essence of it is, that when we do what you said, we're actually creating and expanding and enhancing the experience for ourselves and everybody else. This is like the greatest contribution we can make to the collective, is to clean our own shift up, and take responsibility. But what I'm noticing too, is like, as we've moved into these last 3 months, which seem to be, inarguably a ramp up to whatever 2020 beholds, is that these things that we don't want to let go of, uh, I mean, it's getting so loud that the universe, is going to magnify that to a point of where we might even embarrass ourselves if we don't have, the courage and to just face whatever it is that's being given to us, because everything is being shown to us, especially now that we're having these conscious integrations. Because we were talking about this earlier on another show, but another thing about coming into the space physically of another conscious person with the same intentions, we still have the muddiness. We don't have a pure clarity. So sometimes light, matches light, and then of course when there's light there's shadow cast, and sometimes we don't always know it was there. So there's some of that going on too, which to me is a good sign, because not all if I'm going to have a trigger, I'd rather have it from somebody of a like vibration, because I know that I'm going to be able to be more open to that, rather than somebody who's diametrically an opposing type of energy, at least from my perspective. So this is a good sign too. Another aspect emerging, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. Good stuff.
So, and what have you been doing as far as your practice goes? Are you still pretty much doing the same thing, or have you evolved that at all?
It's totally different now.
That's what I figured.
So I do sessions, and people feel aligned to reach out to me. And it's interesting. I met, there was a couple of people that I'm connected with because of your show. And I think both times I was on, I didn't really get into the experiences that I had with being, I like to use the word contacted by non-terrestrial beings as a child, and tortured for my light. And that has been some serious work to clear. And I've had a couple of people like reach out to me. I didn't express that with you. I didn't express that on the show. There were just two that were just like, I was watching you and I was just crying, and I don't even know why. And then as we got into the session, then their awareness of what they experienced, as, star seeders, it's likely that many of us have had these experiences. They've just been kind of suppressed. And when we're able to bring them up, we can clear them. We can clear that suppressed fear and suffering. And my liberation has been in forgiving, unconditional love and forgiveness, even for them. And so I invite people, I share that perspective with people that, hey, for you forgiving this, not making it right, but those that, you know, participated or witnessed that experience for you, it's your liberation. So I help people, you know, work through things like that. Hands-on, I really love to have people come here to the sanctuary because we can just spend the day and be in this place of unconditional love with the animals and frolic around with all the fairies, and there's mossy rocks and streams. And so I really love to just invite people to come here just to experience this place because it truly is a remarkable place. And so like the biggest like evolution that I've had in the last, you know, this last little bit of time here has been just being shown how this sanctuary is going to continue to grow. And the name was finally given to me. And so I'd love to share it because I'd love to speak words
Please
over
do.
that which I'm wanting to experience in this time now.
I
You guys, you know,
I agree with you.
Yeah. So I have the
agree.
animal sanctuary and I'm acres here, and it's a remarkable place. There's like a lot of galactic activity. There's a lot of portals. There's my son and I saw 6 ships not too long ago, which was amazing. But to expand out and to actually facilitate a conscious community, a community of unity consciousness, where we all have our own individual space. Because as a very sensitive, energetic being, I recognize the importance of me having my own personal space. And I really, really love the idea of community. And I discern that for like how I am with my energy, it's important for me to have space. So allowing, I'm sure a lot of people feel that way. And when we kind of get into community, we kind of, I mean, maybe that does align with some people better, but for me, for what I prefer, having healers, having people of different modalities, having their own place, and then having community gardens where we can come together and do permaculture and forest gardening. And I would really love to like manifest, I am manifesting, it is done, this huge like dome where we can come together and play, where we can gather and do ecstatic dance and yoga and breathing and meditation. And I see it where it is. I see the property. I'm actually shown like on the GIS map, the expansion of this place and what it will encompass, and everything from mushroom production, hemp production. I've just, there's so many ideas that are in my field of awareness now. And I'm just like, I'm connecting in with others who have these specialities. So for instance, this weekend, I connected to someone who is really aligned with growing hemp. I'm like, fantastic. I was already like setting the intention that I wanted to do some hemp production because I would really love to see us shifting, transitioning away from paper and plastic. There's no reason that we're not using hemp and all these old constraints and controls of corporations and those who have profited from unhealthy, not in our best and highest regard. They're all falling away because more people are waking up and becoming more aware of, hey, it's really important for us to clean up the oceans and to, replant the lands and all these different things. So I really see like this center as being one, but I know I've been connected in with so many people who have this idea of, coming together in community, being off grid, being self-sustaining, having our own currency. Have you heard of Dom and Her?
No.
I invite everybody to check it out, Dom and Her. It's really phenomenal. It's in Italy, and they've got this like underground sacred temple. And if you go on YouTube, you can kind of look and experience it. But that's exactly what I'm shown. It's like this unbelievable place here where we can gather and just do what we came here to do, and then being able to, duplicate it out. Boop, 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 boop. We're all spreading. We're all expanding.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. Denise Chadwick, our beautiful beloved sister, she's gonna be coming on soon. I think thought she was. She said we don't have to do it now, but she was wanting to know if you would share some of your beautiful light language uh, before the show's over. Uh,
Yes,
that's up to you.
I will do
But
those over.
yeah, I love what you're saying too. I love, yeah, yeah, I love what you're saying too. Okay, so first of all, you know, Morgan and I lived on an organic farm in Kauai for 10 months. And it was very cool. You know, there was the community aspect of people respecting other people. You know, I mean, at 9:30 at night, it went very quiet. Wasn't a lot of disturbances. I mean, there were, you know, everybody was considerate of each other. It was nice, you know. Now there was a big house, and in the big house there was a giant community area, common area, which had a big kitchen and like a big sitting area and other stuff. And then there was 4 apartments. We had one of the apartments, but then there was a bunch of cabins that were, you know, around the property. Uh, but I love what you said about your own space, because we both walked away from that situation. We said, you know, we like the idea of community living. We totally into that, but you got to have your own space. You're like, we'd love to do this, but we're going to have our own house or whatever. But I do think it's important. And that's another thing I've learned too, going around, especially like even these last 3 months as we traveled around a bit and gone to Shasta and Sedona and other places. It's great to go in and connect, especially at this stage of the game. It's so much for our validation and synchronicities, but it's also a lot of energy. You know, we're not used to, none of us are used to walk into a space with 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 people who are like-minded, carrying a like intention. I mean, that's a lot of power. So you got to have a little time to, you know, to yourself and that type of thing. And I think the other thing that comes to mind as I look at the field in my own, this is just my own universe. I'm not saying I'm right or anything, but I'm seeing this transformation as we go into the quantum, where when we do things like you talked about at the top of the show, on an individual level, we're actually emitting that out, that transforming energy out into the collective experience as well. And this goes along the lines with the intent of true community, which seems to be a big one of the big themes for 2020: collaboration, co-creation, community. And what I'm getting at is, as we take these physical action steps towards building what you're talking about, what many people are talking about, and cleaning up the earth. But as we do this, something energetically is happening too, along the lines of what you said earlier. We're like, you know what? We've already done this. We're just playing this out now. And the same thing's happening. So as we move forward with our intentions and then take some 3D actions with it, it actually carries a lot more weight, a whole lot more weight in the energetic fields than just in the 3D physical fields, which is where we've always measured our level of success or failure. But so we can't underestimate these actions that we take. We can't underestimate, you know, initiatives such as what you're doing over there, because it may look like it's a small dot on the map, but it's actually a huge energetic soulgasmic explosion into all dimensions and timelines, and especially into this realm. So I think we got to remember that we can't underestimate ourselves.
Yes.
Have you had any, you had some great stories before. I probably used them all up, but have you had any experiences lately? Anything that stands out just
Fly,
in
Todd.
terms of your personal?
Every day.
What's that? You
I
fly.
said there's an infinite supply. It's one
Right?
miraculous
Isn't that
moment
right?
after. Yeah.
Isn't it
Yes.
crazy?
It's
crazy.
wonderful.
I was going to tell you too, I can relate more to your situation now too, because we ended up, thanks to a beloved sister, we ended up at this cabin in Northern California. Nearest big city's Redding, which is like an hour away. And it's 42 acres next to another 300 acres of BLM land. And so it's, you know, it's like really literally lions, tigers, and bears. I mean, particularly bears. And so anyway, I'm loving it because every morning, Morgan usually gets up before I do. And every morning I get out of bed and it's a little bit chilled, you know, and I'll just, you know, I walk out into the front yard and, you know, I have less clothes on every day when I do it. it's just like so cool to be out here buck naked and just walking around. And she's looking at me like, hey, put some clothes on. You're going to scare the bears off. But but it's such a freeing feeling, you know. I get a kick out of it. The other thing I noticed too, and you were talking about these things are happening all the time. I think you can appreciate this one. So I was here the second night, and I woke up at 2:22, and I heard, "Get up, get out of bed, go outside." So I went outside to the back patio, and I heard this tree snap, this tree branch snap, and I knew it was something big. And I looked through the tree, and there was a bear, and it was probably, I'd have to say, probably maybe 20 yards away, 50 feet.
Mhm.
And I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking, okay, you're imagining this and all that stuff that goes on in our head. But that's where that bear just turned, you know, his shoulders were away from me, turned, looked at me, and we stared at each other for like a minute or 2 minutes. And there was something telepathically being communicated, which isn't
Oh yeah.
irrelevant right now. But the whole point is nature in the form of the bear and everything that was there and present was saying, hey, you don't have to go out there. You don't have to have beings come into your room and materialize. You don't have to have these high level. It's right here. You can have the same thing right here. You know, I'm like, wow. You
Mhm.
know, I mean, and it was so natural and relaxed. It was like, pass the butter, please. It wasn't like, you know, lightning went off and, you know, this big third eye explosion. It was just this gentle meeting of the minds between the bear energy and my own energy.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I love the animals. I go out on the sanctuary here and I do toning and light language, and the animals will frequently come up out of the woods. And there's some deer that like to come around, and I'm connecting in with them. I've got really naughty little dogs. You know, I run an animal sanctuary, and they're kind of like a little pack, and so I'm getting more like, I'll speak light language stern to them, and they're like, whoop. And they're like, then they listen to me. So I welcome all the creatures. I'm like an animal magnet. When I drive Uber and Lyft, I always kind of mention that I run an animal sanctuary and kind of segue into conversation that way, and kind of see how far I can take the conversation, because I really love to, you know, talk this type of stuff with people. I totally
I
lost
bet
my
they don't
train of
have
thought there.
I bet they don't have lift rides like that. Well, that's okay. We'll come back. So now when you pull in your light language, are there
Yeah.
anything, are there any specifics with it? Is it a specific language, or do you even know? Do you understand what you're saying? Does it matter? I mean, can you just kind of give us a feel for it before you jump into it? I mean, can you just kind of tell us, you know, what you know about it?
Well, it changes when I do sessions with people. For instance, one of the clients that I met through, she's a beautiful sister. I love you. We did a session together, and when I spoke my light language to her, she told me that I transfigured into a woman from her village when she lived in Africa. I've had that multiple times when I'm speaking. I'll kind of, whatever form I take is what that person needs to see. And so the language is always a little bit different. So when I see animals and I'm excited, you know, a type of, you know, language will come out, versus when I'm really in that place of connection. And especially when I'm like in front of the sun, looking at the sun, like I'm Shelley Sol. I love, talk about being naked. This is the first time I've experienced being naked outdoors this summer. And I just turned myself into a giant solar panel. And I love to just eat really simply and drink lots of water and have lots of green. And then I drink this drink that's got chlorophyll in it. And then I go lay in the sun, and I'm literally building my light quotient with the sun. So that language that comes through when I'm in that place is very different from what I would be speaking in a session. And, you know, I always connect in. I always ask to just allow, you know, spirit to speak through me and to speak with the highest frequency of love and light. And then I get out of the way and allow it to come through. And I am being more free in my expression. I write light language, and now I've always danced with my hands a lot, but now I'm actually kind of I see as I'm moving my hand, like the codes that I'm, you know, making in the air, basically. So it's all just a beautiful expression of love. And I love being fully expressed. Pardon me?
Yeah, I've seen people do that. I've seen quite a few people do that with the hands,
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
and there's something to it. There really is something to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I really,
You
when
can
I do
almost
the
see.
body,
Yeah.
I'll sometimes write codes on people's, especially people's hearts. There's a lot of code that'll come through, and just the work that I do. It's interesting. You asked me about the work that I do, and then I kind of went off on a tangent, I think, but I think I've gone off on a tangent now, but it's all good.
Go ahead. Go back to it. Go
I've
back
got
to it.
a lot of like energies here. So sometimes I just need to breathe and ground, and then I'm like, oh, okay, this is what we were talking about, but it's all good. It's all perfect. Oh, we were talking about light language. There you go.
No. I mean, you can talk about what you moved into as far as your work goes, or you can go into the light language, either one, whatever you want to do, or both.
I'll speak the light language. I would like to speak a stream now, if that'd be all right.
Please do. Thank you.
Hang on. I'm going to pull one of these cards. These cards are really special to me. They kind of initiated me into being a clear channel. These are channeled from Dr. Amber Wolf. They're Lemurian codes for healing. And I know you say you don't identify with one story or the other, but they're really pretty images, and there's resonance and frequency in images. So I'm just gonna like randomly select one, and then I'm not gonna read the whole thing. It's number 9, of course.
Of course.
It's all about the feminine. I'll share that.
Oh, that's nice.
It's a beautiful code. Yeah, it's really pretty.
Like a galactic. Looks like a galactic mandala.
Yeah, she channels them through the Palladian star mothers. So there's some really potent energy in this. These set of cards, there's like 13, I think. You lay them on you, and it's really remarkable. But anyway, I felt called to do that. So there's that for the divine feminine. And I love the divine masculine too, but the sisters are rising. So maybe that's what this is for. Hi.
Well, if the sisters are right.
What's that?
There's a lag. Go.
Okay. Hey, mia shutum yai, terum amniatiai, how mia tua desheteniai, au metea, akumesheteniai, etu, mete, ayakiai miaya, arumete, shutum, ayaniayumiatia. My brothers and sisters of the light, Shetimiaya Kua. The time is now, my loves. Shutumete. It is safe. Harumetiai. It is safe for us to shine our light. Tumekiaya. It is safe for us to speak the truth. Shutumiaka. Ea. The light has won. Enyai. Love has won. Shutumia. We are one. There you are.
Yeah, I like that. I've obviously been exposed to a lot of light language. I don't do it on my own. I do some stuff now and then, but not like light language. But so I've been able to like pick up different things from it. I guess we all do. But what's interesting about yours, and I remember this from before, but even more so now. And so it's like when I pick up that energy of you, it's like plant, animal, galactic. It's like got all this little stuff in it. It's almost like an interwoven, multilingual type of a light language that you can hear different aspects within it in a short period of time. I've heard people do one voice and then another voice and another, where you actually have like bits and pieces all through it. You know what I mean? That's the way I see it anyway. That's the way I pick up on it. That's beautiful. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Denise
Thank you for
Chadwick loves it
allowing
too.
me.
I love her light language. Absolutely.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Denise and I have light language conversations sometimes. That's a lot of fun. My sister Ray and I do.
who's that?
I really
Oh,
opportunity.
you know, Yvonnya, how many shows have we done today? Yvonnya Bartholomew's from Tasmania is going to be on a little bit later. And the last time she was on, her mother came on. Now, Yvonne's,
Oh,
I don't know what his age is. I'd say, she's probably pretty much the same age as most of us, 45 to 55. And, but so her mother looked to be, mid 70s, but in really good shape. So anyway, she came on to talk a little bit of ascension with us, which was real interesting. But then they started singing light language to each other. And they said, like, we've been doing this for a long time. I said, so what are you saying to each other? It's not about that. It's not about like, explaining it. It's said in the
yeah.
frequencies and the tonality and the resonance and the the melody. It's all part of it. But it was really interesting. So yeah, if you and your sister would love to do that with us sometime, we'd be more than willing to collaborate with you on that. These are the type of things, in my opinion, that need to be spread out and given more, and to gain more awareness, because in them, in of themselves, they carry so much code and activation stimuli. So I'd love to see
Yeah.
that if you're
Yeah.
ever up for it.
Denise is game
And
for
so how's
anything.
the oh, is she really? Well, hit me up, so hit
I
Morgan up. Hit Morgan up as soon as as soon as whenever that comes to fruition. Yeah, absolutely. And then what is the state of the union with your sanctuary? How are you? Because I remember when you first came on, you were kind of like getting it up again. You had gone through a lot of stuff like a lot of people had, and you were like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Boom, I'm doing it, and all these things happened. Where are you at with it now? Do you have quite a few animals there? Are you doing any developing there? I know you were talking about putting some things in and that type of stuff.
Yeah. So we have expanded, and I actually just recently did a Facebook post asking for some currency flow into the sanctuary account. I allowed it to get down to 53 cents. And I was simultaneously experiencing a similar experience in my own personal account, but it was just another opportunity to clear, this program of lack and limitation. And a spirit was just like, all you have to do is ask. And that's been one of the things I've been working through, is being able to ask for help, ask for assistance, ask for support. So I did a Facebook post and got some beautiful donations immediately. And I just recognized I just need to keep doing it. We just rescued some sheep in July. The sheep that I had for 17 years. It was time for her to transition. I needed to help her because she was a stubborn spirit that didn't want to go, but her body had completely broken down on her. And so I had the vet come and we did a ceremony, and it was very beautiful. But her best friend, who had been with her for 17 years, was running around like crying, looking for her. And it was like, I've shifted my perspective about helping animals transition. It's still, I miss that physical connection, but now I know, energy, nothing ever dies. The energy just changes form. And, I can still connect in with their energy now. And my animals are still with me now because I have the ability to connect in with them in that way. But Timmy didn't understand, and to see her, grieving in that way, I was just like, I called the neighbor. I was just like, do you have any sheep? He runs a meat farm over there that you will be willing to grace, with coming to live their life at the sanctuary. And he's just like, yeah, actually, I bought a whole ton of them that have this foot problem, and one of them is really bad. You can have her for $100. And I was just like, all right, I'll raise the funds. And we brought her here, and Lord, she is it's the worst case of foot rot I've ever seen. Like, the people let her hooves grow around, and then they all got infected underneath, and it's just been a challenging situation to clear. So took her, and then about 3 weeks later, he reached out to me again, and he was just like, hey, I've got 4 more. I don't have time for, getting them well. would you take them and make them well and then give me 3 back? And I was like, nope, but I'll do some fundraising. And I was just like, how about $333? Because you were going to give me the one for free. And he's like, yep, that'll work. So I brought them here. And then when he brought them, he was just like, by the way, they've been in with my ram, so it's likely that some of them are pregnant. So I'm thinking, yay, we're going to have little baby lambs and they're going to be able to see mommies. If you eat lamb, you're consuming water of little baby lambs.
Abundance. That's that new abundance energy. It comes in all different forms of fashion.
That's right. That's right.
The money thing. And slowly but surely, maybe you'll have an effect on your neighbor who will move out of that capitalistic frequency, among other things.
Right. Well,
hey,
thank
you so much.
Already done.
That's already done, yeah. Well, thank you so much for spending another hour with us and honoring us with your presence here in space with us. It's always good to see you. Hope to see you sometime in the next few months. And come by there and flip the camera on and go for a tour of the sanctuary and just see what we can get into and collaborate, spontaneously. But it'd be great. Yeah, I love that part of the country. Yeah, that's a beautiful part of the country, and I'd love to get back up there. But you take care, and best to you and your family and all your animals and all your dreams and everything like that. And keep on turning on that sacred sexual vibration when you're driving people around. spread the new frequency.
It's all love and light. Don't twist it that way. It's just love and light.
Oh, no, it's sacred. It's sacred. It's a sacred sexual vibration. I got no problem saying that. It is real, and it is it's a hard thing to describe, like you said, but it's real.
It is.
And somebody's got to keep spreading it. So hats off to you and all the other activators, and keep on plugging away, and you handle your shift, I'll handle mine. We'll meet in the middle. You take care. Thank you.
I love that.
You take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.